Facebook. It is your girl Shanice, and I'm back with another one. You already know today is Transformational Thursday, where I come to help you to transform your thinking and challenge your perspective. I am your certified transformational life coach, and I help moms to reinvent themselves, to help them to find their true identity in Christ, unveil their purpose, and to walk in their true power. And of course, we got to tap on healing from that past trauma. It which leads me to my next point. I am also an author of Heal Soul Trauma, Healing from a Broken Soul, where you can go over to Amazon and catch that today. And today I have an amazing, I don't have a guest today, it's just going to be me, but I have an amazing topic I'm going to talk about today that I feel like every woman or male goes through when we are finding ourselves in Christ, when God is rebirthing us, when He's rediscovering us, when we are finding ourselves in Him. Before I go into my message today, I have an upcoming webinar, and it's called Sus, Is He the One? No, it's Sus, He Playing Games. That's what it is. But it talks about, it helps you to identify if he's ready to commit or if he playing games. And we ain't got time for none of that in 2021, do we? We ain't got time for that. I need somebody that's ready to commit, and I need somebody that's ready to, you know what I'm saying, that have the same, that's aligning up with what I want. And I want marriage. I desire marriage. And if you're not trying to go in that direction, then you are wasting my time and you are a distraction. And today I want to talk about, so that's my upcoming webinar, and you guys can register at bit.ly /sus let go. In that webinar, I'll be talking about identifying the red flags, identify if your relationship is toxic, and a lot of times we don't realize that our relationship is toxic, and also how to bounce back from after the breakup. A lot of times after we break up, it's like, what's next? Like, what do I do next? What do I go to next? How do I find myself next? Like, what is it? Like, what's next for me, right? So I want you to if you guys are struggling in that area and you don't know if you are operating, you have a toxic relationship, I want you guys to go over to my webinar and sign up. It's this Saturday at 8 p.m. If you know somebody that's struggling in that area, then tell a friend and tell a friend. But it's going to be a whole vibe, because you already know I'm a whole vibe, period. But today I want to talk about the imposter syndrome. And if you don't know what that is, and you don't even know you're dealing with it, I'm going to give you 3 keys on how to know if you're operating in imposter syndrome and how to overcome it. Just a little backstory for me. When God was showing me who I was, I didn't realize that I was operating in imposter syndrome until one day I was just strolling on Facebook and I started reading. I strolled on Facebook and I see the comment about the imposter syndrome, and then I looked it up and I'm like, man, this is a real thing. Like, this is me. Like, I'm suffering from this and I didn't even know. And one indicator that I had read that imposter syndrome have is when you are constantly in confliction with yourself. Like, you are constantly at war. Like, I see myself as this person, but yet I keep showing up as her. Am I going to ever show up as the person I see in my preview? And I talked about it in my academy, and I gave them homework, and I had them to write down who they see in their preview. And then I had told them, because that's the person that we're coming out of, we're coming to, and we're coming out of this old person, that person that have been traumatized, that person that is riddled with labels and titles, that person that is riddled with low self-esteem, self-doubt, insecurities. We're coming out, we're taking those grave clothes off, right? That is the old man. That old man have to die. And the reason why you go through imposter syndrome is because that old man is dying off, right? Dying, right? Which means you just don't one day wake up and be that person. That person is every single day you're shedding that person off. It's like a butterfly when it goes in cocoon. It shed different layers off of them for them to become and fly and soar into these beautiful butterflies. And that's the same thing when we are becoming who God called us to be. We often have to shed who we thought we were in order to become who God called us to be. In order for you to do that, you have to shed off of those clothes, right? You have to shed off that old thinking, those habits. And that's why we end up dealing with the imposter syndrome. And that's why we always be in confliction with ourselves, because we see who we are trying to become. We see that person I preview. We see that healthy version of us. We see that person that's waking up every single day exercising. I'm going to tell on myself. We see that person that's waking up every single day seeking God and seeking his face. We see that person prophesying to nation. We see that person having going to different around the world and signing books. We see that person on stage speaking. We see that you see that person, right? And whatever it is for you, I'm telling you what I see in my future and what God is going to do in my life and the things that God's going to birth through me, right? I see myself being a bloodline breaker. I see that person married. I see that person healed. I see that person whole, but yet I keep waking up with these thoughts. I keep waking up with these habits, and I keep attaching myself to things that I want to break free from. And the thing is, you have to go through a process of dying off that old man, to stop thinking like that person, to stop talking like that person, to have a shift in your paradigms from one shift to the next shift. But because you have not shifted into the whole totality of who you are, you end up staring at yourself in the face like, I see who you are, but I keep showing up stuff as another person. So you end up start saying to yourself, man, these people is gonna find out who I am. You keep thinking that you're a fraud. You keep thinking that people gonna think that I'm fake. People gonna think I'm a fraud. And it's not that they're looking at you like, man, you are so dope. Like, you are so smart. You are so creative. And you looking at yourself as this ant. When other people are seeing you as a giant, you seeing yourself as an ant because you're thinking it's like an ant, but yet God it have shown you this giant. And you like, God, I see this person I'm going to become, but every single day I wake up, I see another part of me. I see a part of me that have not gave birth yet. And God is saying to you, it's okay. Keep showing up, and I guarantee you're going to wake up to her. But you have to allow her to detox the old man and shed the old man off so the new person can come forth. So that's one of the ways how you know that you are operating in imposter syndrome. You are constantly in confliction, and you think that you are a fraud. When actuality, you are not a fraud. You are that woman. You are healed. You are whole, and God is speaking those things be not as they were over your future. And the only reason why that you are feel like you are an imposter, because right now you are going through the process of birthing that better virgin, that powerful virgin of you. That powerful virgin, that beautiful version of you is emerging forth. Have you ever studied a butterfly and how they actually come out of the cocoon? I have this book and it's called Push by Cindy Trim. And she talks about giving birth to purpose, giving birth to who you really are, giving birth to your identity, giving birth to your destiny. And one of the things she had in the back of the book, she talked about this man and how this man one day sat there and studied this butterfly. He studied this butterfly of coming out of his cocoon, and he was watching his butterfly constantly hit at the cocoon over and over and over again. The man could not understand why the butterfly was actually struggling to come out. Right? He didn't understand that the butterfly was actually in this process of breaking out the cocoon. So as the butterfly was breaking out of the cocoon, breaking through, right? Like I said, over and over again, you got to constantly hit at that thing until you break into the next dimension. He went and got some scissors and cut the butterfly out. This is what happened when he ended up cutting the butterfly out of the cocoon. The butterfly was never able to fly. He was only able to crawl on his belly. So he never got a chance to soar because someone else thought that he was actually struggling, but he was actually transitioning. I want you to catch that. Sometimes you will be connected to someone that think that they are helping you by cutting you out of your problem. When in actuality, God is using that very thing to help you to birth the next version of you so you can soar to the next dimension. So this fellow thought he was helping the butterfly when he actually hindered the butterfly. So you probably thinking, Shanice, when am I going to show up as that person that I see in my preview? When am I? You are showing up. She is there. I never forget the day. So stop allowing yourself to constantly be at affliction with yourself, because what you fail to understand is you are her. She's showing up daily, but your perspective and your mindset has not been challenged, and your mindset needs a shift because you're working towards her daily. You just don't see it because you're looking at the whole totality of who you are, but you're not seeing the steps that you're taking to become her. I'll give you an example. Every day I wake up, the very first thing I do is I pray. Then I read my word. Sometimes I exercise, sometimes I don't. And then I go on to work on my emails or whatever I have to do for that day. Even though my email list may not be 60,000 people like one day I know it would be. My email list may not be 25,000 people like I know one day it will be. My email list may not be 1,000 people like I know one day it will be. But I'm starting to send my emails out as if I already have that 25,000, as if I already have that 60,000. I post on Facebook and I put myself out there. I create an opportunity for myself so my audience can find me and not me go out and find my audience, right? So I'm building up momentum and I'm learning software because one day I will go out and teach other people how to build their business. I am a roadmap to someone else's success. So you probably thinking like, God, I feel like I have not arrived or it's taking me forever. It's not that you're taking forever. You have to understand that you are someone else's roadmap. So you have to go through the process. You have to go through everything. You have to learn systems. You have to invest in yourself because you're going to pass down your skill that you have learned to your audience. So it's not that you have not you have not arrived. You are in the process. So it's not the fact that I have not touched nations. It's not the fact that I don't have this large email list. I'm building it and I'm growing. And I'm becoming that person I see in my preview. I may not be booked throughout the whole year, but it's going to become a time in my destiny, right? Because I'm destined for greatness, that I'm going to be booked for speaking engagements, that I'm going to have conferences all over the world, but I have to start in order to become the whole totality of myself that God have called me to be. As you walk with God, you have no choice but to transform and conform to Him as you walk with Him every single day, right? Especially if you are intentional. So, like I said, the number one, how you know that you are operating in imposter syndrome, you are constantly in confliction with yourself. You are constantly wondering why you're not showing up as her. But what you fail to understand is you are her, but you are in the process of becoming her. So don't look at her as if I'm not her. You are her, but you're going through the process to become her. Number two, when someone tell you that you are so powerful and you take that comment and you revert it back to them as I'm not powerful, I'm not this, I'm not that. You are operating in imposter syndrome. Which leads me to number three, you are in denial of who you are. You do not believe that you are powerful. You do not believe that you are everything that God have showed you in a bag of chips. You don't believe it. So since you don't believe it, you'll keep on operating in imposter syndrome and not showing up as who God have called you to be because she is not far. I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna bless you. Okay. My mentor at the time, me and him was on a phone call, And I was telling her, she said, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated because I keep seeing myself as another person. I feel like I'm her when I'm on a live, when I'm doing a phone call, when I'm doing something business wise. But when I'm not her, when I'm not doing that, I feel like I'm a fraud. I feel like I'm not her." And she was telling me, like, "Shanice, you are powerful. You are great. You are wonderful. You are a jewel to the kingdom." And I'm like, "I am?" She's like, "Yes, this is the thing. I was questioning what God have already revealed to me in my quiet time. God has already revealed who you are in your quiet time. But because you are afraid to show up as her, right? Because you have always been a shrieking violent, you have always allowed other people's light to trump over yours, you have always dimmed your own light. So now that God is telling you to show up as her, you are afraid to show up as her, and you're denying who she really is, even though you already seeing her. So now you're operating in a partial syndrome. My mentor was showing me who I was. God had shown me who I was. She was just conforming what God was already showing, but yet I was denying it to her. Why? Because the truth was, I was afraid. Wait, baby. I was afraid to show up as who I really was because I was afraid to leave some people. I was afraid to lose some mindsets, and I was afraid to lose. I was so conformed and conducive to the mindset. I didn't want to go through the process of dying that part of me off. I was operating a Parson syndrome. So now you in denial. You're telling people what you're not when God has already showed you because you're too afraid to show up as her. Right? So see, I want you to understand that now you have to be on a war. You have to be so intentional about going back and stealing everything that the enemy showed you, stole from you, because the reason why you are operating a Parson syndrome, excuse me, because the enemy have stole your identity in God, in Christ. He have came and stole it. So now it's time for you to go and take it back by force. And this is the wonderful thing about God. He's just not going to restore you. And this is what you have to understand. That person you see in your preview is the restored person that God has called you to be, the restored part of you. If you look at restoration, and if you Google it, it means to repair. I forgot the definition. I should have wrote it down. I think I forget. But God, when God restored you back to who He called you to be, when He restored you, He put you back where you supposed to have been in the first place. Before the enemy stole your identity, before trauma came and stole your identity, before trauma came and suppressed your gifts and your talents, before you didn't know that you was anointed. All that, God's going to restore it back to you. And the powerful thing about it, when God restored you, He gives you back double of everything that you lost. Double. You lost your anointing because you never knew it existed, but He gives you back double. He makes you more powerful and to operate more powerfully in your identity, even though you don't know you lost it. The enemy stole it, and it's time for you to take it back by force. Do not yield to the imposter syndrome. Do not yield to, oh, this is who I am. That I'm not that person, but God have already showed you. So I'm gonna give you 3 ways on how to overcome the imposter syndrome. 1, write down everything God showed you and go to war with it. This is one of the lessons I gave the ladies in the academy. They had to write down everything that they saw in a preview on what they wanted to become. And then they had to write down the lie. Everything that the enemy told them they had to write that down. And then they had to write down the truth versus the lie. After the lie was exposed, now they can start focusing on the truth. And I want you to create affirmations off of what you find that God have called you to be. If God have called you, told you that if one of your gifts that God revealed to you was a writer, I want you to start writing down affirmations. I have streams of income from my book. I am a New York seller. I want you to start writing those things down, and I want you to start working towards becoming a New York seller. Number 2, show up as her because you're already her. So if you see in your preview that you're this person that's going to have a multi-million-dollar company, start your company and start growing it. And I'm telling on myself, start growing it as if you're that's already a multi-million-dollar company, but start small. I'm starting to start putting myself out there more because I'm not building my company, my business as God have showed me it have already was. Why? Because I have not showed up in that compartment. The compartment. I have not showed up in that department that God have called me to. He have shown me that you're going to have a mentoring companies, but you are building as an online. No, it's time for you to get a building, right? She'll show up as her. You're already her. You just have to start showing up as her. You're dying off the old man. You're killing old habits so you can walk into who God called you to be. And number 3, believe the truth versus the lie. And you're gonna have to hit at it like that butterfly was hitting at the cocoon over and over and over again. You're gonna have to hit at that cocoon over and over and over and over again until those glass ceilings in your mind is broken and you can walk into God have called you to be. I love you guys. Stay encouraged, stay inspired, and I'll see you back next Thursday. And I will have a special guest for Transformational Thursday. Once again, I am a transformational life coach, and I am here to encourage you, inspire you, and motivate you, but to also transform your mind and challenge your perspective. And if for those that want to sign up for the webinar, the link is inside the video. Go over to bit.ly/sis let go. Don't let this be another year that you allow yourself to be in a toxic relationship. You are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are worthy. You do not need to be connected to nothing that do not see it. See ya. Share this video. Sharing is caring.